9 experienced hikers go to sleep in a tent on a frozen mountain. Sometime that night, they slash the tent open from the inside, and run out into a blizzard. No coats. No boots. Into temperatures near 40 below. Days later, searchers find them scattered down the slope. 6 frozen. 3 with crushing injuries. Some missing eyes. 1 missing a tongue. And for more than 60 years, nobody could agree on what they were running from. It's January 1959, in the Soviet Union. A 23-year-old radio engineering student named Igor Dyatlov puts together a group for a serious ski trek across the northern Ural Mountains. Most of them are students or recent grads from the Ural Polytechnical Institute. These aren't beginners. Every one of them is an experienced hiker, and this trip is the highest difficulty grade you could attempt in the country at the time. Pass it, and they'd earn the top certification. The plan is to cover hundreds of kilometers and reach a mountain called Otorten, in February, the hardest possible time to go. 10 of them set out. 1 would turn back. The other 9 would never come home. They take a train to Ivdel, then a lorry to Vizai, the last village before the wilderness. On the 27th of January they start trekking. The next day one member, Yuri Yudin, has to turn back. He's got joint pain and health problems, and his body just won't let him continue. That decision saves his life. The remaining 9 push on. We actually know their route in detail, because they kept diaries and took photographs, and those survived. On the 31st they reach a highland area and stash extra food and gear for the trip back. The next day they head up into the pass. Here's where it starts to go wrong. The weather turns. Snowstorms roll in, visibility drops, and the group loses their bearings. Instead of crossing the pass, they drift west, up toward the top of a mountain called Kholat Syakhl. When they realize the mistake, they make a choice that people still argue about. There was a forested valley just over a kilometer downhill, with shelter from the wind. They didn't go there. They pitched their tent on the open, exposed slope. Yudin, the man who turned back, later guessed Dyatlov didn't want to lose the altitude they'd gained, or maybe just wanted the practice of camping high. Whatever the reason, that tent on the slope is the last place they were all alive. When Dyatlov didn't send the telegram he'd promised, and the days dragged on with no word, a search began. What they found was deeply strange. The tent was still standing, half buried in snow. But it had been cut open from the inside. Slashed with knives. And the people inside hadn't bothered to use the entrance. They'd gone straight out through the wall of the tent. Most of their boots, their coats, their warm clothes, all still inside. Whatever happened, they left in a hurry. They ran downhill, away from shelter, into a night cold enough to kill in minutes. The first bodies turned up near the edge of a forest, by the remains of a small fire. Then more, spread out along the slope, like they'd been trying to crawl back toward camp. The official investigation said 6 of them died of hypothermia. They'd frozen. But 3 others had injuries that the cold alone couldn't explain. 1 had a fractured skull. 2 had severe chest trauma, the kind of force you'd expect from a car crash. Months later, in May, 4 more bodies were found lying in a creek under the snow. Some of them were missing soft tissue. 2 had no eyes. 1 had no tongue. 1 was missing eyebrows. Investigators linked that damage to the running water and natural decomposition, but it only deepened the horror of the story. So what killed them? The Soviet investigation closed with a phrase that explained nothing and everything, a compelling natural force. Then they sealed it up. And into that silence poured every theory you can imagine. An avalanche. Ball lightning. A UFO. Infrasound, low-frequency sound from the wind that can trigger panic and dread. A clash with locals, or escaped criminals. A secret spy meeting gone wrong. Military rocket or nuclear tests. Some people combine 2 or 3 of these. For decades, the lack of a clear answer let the mystery grow into one of the most famous unsolved cases in the world. In 2019, the Russian government reopened the case. In 2020 they landed on an answer: an avalanche. The idea is that a slab of snow built up above the tent on that slope. When it shifted, it forced the group to cut their way out fast, in the dark, with almost no visibility, and flee with no time to grab their gear. Then the cold finished them. As one official put it, it was a heroic struggle, there was no panic, but they had no chance. A year later, scientists from 2 Swiss universities backed part of that up. They modeled a rare kind of slab avalanche and showed it could produce exactly those crushing chest and skull injuries, even on a slope that didn't look steep enough. Here's why this story still grips people. The avalanche explanation is the best one we've got, and it's backed by real science. But it doesn't erase the image at the center of it: 9 capable, careful people, cutting their way out of safety in the middle of the night and running into the dark. A mountain pass nearby now carries Dyatlov's name, and a rock outcrop stands as a memorial. The case is officially closed. And yet, because we'll never hear them tell it themselves, a part of that night stays locked away up on the slope forever. If this one got under your skin, tell me in the comments which theory you actually believe. And if you want more true stories that shouldn't be possible, subscribe, because there's always another one coming.